So, Mushoku Tensei Season 2, or Episode 12, Second Core, whatever you want to call it, has finally dropped. And, I'm not gonna lie, I only recently got into Mushoku Tensei probably about probably 3 months ago. And it feels like it's a solid return to form when it comes on to me getting into this second season. Welcome everyone, Sanjae Uchiha here. Welcome back to the channel. Usually I would probably do a reaction to this episode, but I just decided to just watch, kind of absorb it at my own pace, and just come and talk with you guys regarding this awesome show. Honestly, this episode, in terms of my initial impressions, or at least for those of you who actually watch Mushoku Tensei and probably haven't checked out this episode yet, this episode is, as I said, a solid return to form. It just really encapsulates everything that makes Mushoku Tensei great in this one episode, or at least based on the positives from the first season. It kind of feels like it shows in this one episode. Now, kind of continuing where we left off with the last episode or the last season, we have Rudeus, Eris, and Rudeus. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah, continuing their journey to get off the demon continent and get to the Mills continent to actually return Eris back to her, her family and everything. And that's the basic plot of this first episode. With the main issue that the group is trying to resolve is that even though they can secure a ship to actually get to the next continent, when it comes on to Ruijerd, since he's supered or fake supered, at least that's the impression they're giving to the masses, it's still a ridiculous amount of money for him for his ship fare, essentially. So they're kind of left into a financial bind, and the episode basically revolves around them figuring out what they're going to do to actually I guess get all of them on the ship without doing anything too ridiculous. So that's basically it. But as I said, this episode, when it comes on to the music, the animation, even for the fight scenes that we got in this episode, the art, just the tone, the atmosphere of just watching the episode, the honestly, this episode kind of just continues the positives that season one established when it comes on to just immersing you in the experience of watching this show. Honestly, there's just something about Mushoku Tensei that just, I don't know, just draws me in when I when I watch it, honestly. So it's just overall a fun experience. I'm not gonna say this show is gonna be like for everybody, but I mean, when it comes on to the characters, the art, the animation, Rudeus himself, the perverted jokes, humor, just seeing Rudeus kind of deal with the, I guess, the interpersonal dynamics that he never really got to establish for himself in his previous life, and seeing how he continues to deal with that even through the problem they're experiencing in this current episode. It's just I don't know, it just kind of just all mixes together for a very immersive experience, if I do say so myself. No. What I'll also say about this episode as well is we got reintroduced to a character that we saw at the end of episode 11, which is Kirishika. I forgot her last name, but it's similar to her first name. Basically, the quote unquote demon emperor in this episode, and of course, adding another character like that kind of diversifies the dynamic that the group has. But she eventually does give Rudeus a quote-unquote demon eye that allows him to get some foresight. Essentially, he's able to see a few seconds into the future, which I'm sure is going to kind of change the dynamic when it comes on to combat for Rudeus as a character going forward, which is, of course, is an interesting dynamic or tidbit, extra layer of something like, I'm getting tongue twisted here. It's just an extra layer of something that we, the audience, can look forward to when it comes on to combat going forward. But as I said, well, as you guys may not know, I haven't checked out the novels or anything, which is the original, the source material. And even with the reintroduction of the quote-unquote god character in this episode, it kind of makes me wonder, like, what's his end goal at the end of all this, because he seems to be continuing to help out Rudeus, because he, in this episode, he's the one that instructed, Rudeus to, help out somebody in the back alley, and that's how he bumped up into the demon lord to eventually get the demon eye, and then all of that. So it kind of makes me wonder, what's the end goal for his character. And I'm just hoping at some point we'll get some, even though I don't think it's going to be the case based on the stuff that I've been kind of looking online in terms of the wiki and thing, but I'm still holding out hope that we get more information on the source of Rudeus's reincarnation. So, and hopefully that kind of ties into the plot at some point. So there's that, but I'm kind of straying here. So of course, we do have Roxy and Paul and Zenith's old members landing on the continent as well. And it was kind of funny to see that Roxy is there. She's so close to Rudeus, but so far, granted, she's not there to actually find Rudeus, but or is she? No, probably not. But the point is, yeah, they're so close yet so far. So I'm interested to see if they'll bump up into each other at some point. Of course, we do have Mr. Cleaner in this episode, which is a funny last name. That Rudeus actually saved at one point, and it seems like whatever's going to happen with that character is going to segue into them potentially, getting on the ship later on. So that's going to be interesting. But of course, as I said, at the end of the day, the core thing that I really love about this episode, again, despite all the superficial stuff or all the non-superficial stuff, is just seeing the human interaction between like Rudeus and him trying to come up with a way to actually get themselves out of the situation without abandoning Rudeus, and him just trying to take everything upon himself, even with how excited he was about getting the demon eye and powering himself up, and then after his sparring match with Eris, and just seeing how him kind of analyzing how him powering up indirectly made Eris feel after beating her in a sparring match. And it's just those kind of like, I guess, visceral human moments of his character in this show, kind of it kind of speaks to me on a level. So to that end, it kind of helped make this first episode, like all the better if I'm being quite honest. So yeah, but all in all, I think this was a solid reintroduction. As I said, perfect return to form. Again, if you haven't watched the episode yet, I highly recommend it. It has all the things you probably love about Mushoku Tensei, from the art, the animation, the music, the tone, the characters, the perverted stuff. It kind of fitted everything in it, and of course the whole kind of human dynamic of exploring Rudeus's characters and his interpersonal relationships with his team members. So yeah, but anyway, guys, let me know what you think. If you haven't checked out Mushoku Tensei, I highly recommend it. I mean, we're just 12 episodes in at this point, so looking forward to seeing how the rest of the season goes. And yeah, Sanjae Uchiha, thanks for tuning in. If you made it this far, leave a like if you enjoyed my thoughts on the episode. Definitely subscribe, because that's free too, and if it's free, take two. So enjoy the rest of your night, guys. Sanjae Uchiha, and I'll see you in the next one.